to eat the foods that are not going to clog my arteries. It's just as a motivator because I want to be this way until I die.
Mm-hmm. What would you choose if you had to? An able body or an able brain? It was super clear for me. I'd rather have the able brain. Personally.
Me too.
Because that's the relationships.
That is the fullness of life.
And to protect the brain, of course. But these things are also fundamentally interconnected, aren't they? That's why when I look at the Alzheimer's stats around bone health, I think, well, if you had osteoporosis or something and you weren't moving as much, maybe.
You know what a huge motivator for my patients is, now that you've brought this up, is Alzheimer's disease is thought of as the third phase of diabetes, right? And so everybody is aware of diabetes, and it means you don't process sugar and you have glucose intolerance and your pancreas is no longer functioning, and the bad sequela that can come with that. What people are not aware of as much, at least as people who come to my clinic, is pre-diabetes. And if you don't mind me diverging a little bit, because it's so important to this question you just asked me, and can we prevent it? And if we got to choose, what would we choose? But I have people coming into my office all the time and I look at their labs and they have a fasting glucose. They've had their labs drawn. They've done what we've said, get in front of your critical decade. They've had their fasting glucose drawn and it's 110.
Which is?
I'm going to tell you. Okay. And their hemoglobin A1C is nearing 6. So fasting glucose is the glucose that remains in your blood after you haven't eaten for 12 hours. In a normally functioning pancreas metabolic system, we want our fasting glucose to be around 85, right? That's normal. It means we eat something, insulin comes out of our pancreas, the sugar is put into our muscle, and then the blood sugar is around 85. If it's staying up 110 consistently, we know from the literature that you have a 70 to 100% chance of developing full-blown diabetes within 10 years. But what I see in people coming into my office is I'll say, did anybody ever tell you you were pre-diabetic? And either the answer is no, or the answer is, oh yeah, somebody told me, they said, just make a few, focus more on your exercise. And what I think the reaction to the diagnosis of pre-diabetes should be is running and screaming to get healthy. Because if we know that with a consistent blood sugar in the pre-diabetic range, and we're casually told by our healthcare provider, oh, just go try to exercise more, just casually approach this, don't eat so many carbs. That is not serious enough because we know from a preventative standpoint, from a precision longevity standpoint, which is all about prevention, we can prevent you from getting to diabetes in the next 10 years if we're really, really serious about lifting weights, about cardio health, about anti-inflammatory nutrition following. So I don't view pre-diabetes as a casual thing at all. Because if in 10 years you're going to get diabetes and in 10 more years you're going to have Alzheimer's disease, and I could have prevented that by paying attention when I was 40, it's almost inexcusable that we're not paying more attention to it. 96 million people in the United States have prediabetes.
96 million?
96 million, according to the American Diabetes Association. I just gave a talk at their annual convention. 96 million have a preventable characteristic that we can prevent them from becoming diabetic and getting Alzheimer's disease, and yet it is too casually spoken of.
That's like almost 1 in 3. That means that there's 3 of us in this room. So Jack's got pre-diabetes.
Perhaps.
Potentially. You were an endurance athlete, weren't you? So
I was an endurance athlete, and I don't have it today, it ran out, but I'm a little obsessed with continuous glucose monitoring.
Same.
So